Chapter 7. Garces. Trino took the long way to get home. His mind was mostly on Lizana, a little on her friends. Sometimes Montoya's poetry words or memories of Rosca's threat. Trino used to think that he had the most boring life in the world. The last 2 days had been just crazy, man. Just crazy. Man, all the stuff going on, stuff he just got sucked into by accident. He'd just have to be careful. It was like walking through a field of cactus. Tomorrow was school. Could mean maybe he'd see Lizana. He'd see Zipper and Rogelio too. What would he say? Couldn't tell them about Rosca and Epifanio. Couldn't tell them about the bookstore or listening to Montoya. It'd be the same old stuff with the guys, laughing at the weirdo kids, trying to pop the smack machine when the teachers weren't looking, or just sitting someplace and chewing on the grass. Trino wasn't sure about his old boring life. He hated the problems with Rosca, but talking with the other boys today, listening to some of the stories that Montoya had told in his poems, and getting to know a girl like Lizana had put something new into his life. He wasn't ready to let it go. He reached into the back pocket of his blue jeans and pulled out Montoya's book. He read again the words that Montoya had written just for Trino's sake. Don't let the man flip the switch and fry you. Without realizing it, Trino's head nodded in agreement. Trino heard his mom yelling coming through the torn screen door long before he climbed the step up. She sounded really mad. At least she couldn't blame Trino for whatever it was. He opened the screen door and quietly stepped inside, slipping behind his mother, who stood beside the kitchen table, jabbing her arms around as she spoke in loud, angry words. He noticed the white boxes she had brought back from the motel open and empty on the table. Trino's eyebrows raised up. Who had eaten up all the food? Of course he knew, and he looked up to see Garces sweating on the sofa. The man still had smears of chocolate icing on one of his unshaven cheeks. His dingy undershirt had the look of an old dish rag that he had wiped the dirty fingers all over. He didn't seem to be talking much as Trino's mom yelled at him. I brought that food home for the kids, Garces. You ate it all. Didn't even leave a sandwich for their supper. How could you be such a pig? Garces just sighed. His reddened eyes looked like 2 shriveled tomatoes. Calmete, prima. A man has to eat. What man? She spit out her words like something hot burned in her tongue. All I see is a fat drunk who's been sleeping on my sofa, but doing nothing to help his family get a little food on the table. I want you out of here, Garces, right now. She pointed her arm towards the door. Get your clothes and get out of my house. You can't tell me to go, Prima. We're family. Mom said you have to go, Garces. Now get out. Trino had watched in silence, but now that his mother had spoken the words Trino had waited for 2 months to hear, he waited to be certain Garces had left before his mother changed her mind and decided to give him another chance. Stay out of this, boy. It ain't your business. His brown face flamed with a red tone that made him look slightly more dangerous. Only, as he tried to stand, his fat legs were unsteady beneath him. He fell back into the sofa with a groan and a burp. Trino's here to help me throw you out, and if you won't leave, I'll call the police, Garces, and tell them that you stole money from me. Then she turned to her son. Go get his clothes from the back room. I'll get a bag for them, she said. Trino wasted no time in finding the few torn pants and shirts that Garces kept in the closet floor in the small bedroom Trino shared with his brothers. He was glad to get the sweaty smell of Garces out for good. As he returned to the living room with the clothes in his arms, Trino was ready to take on Garces himself. Trino had the strength to tilt a soda machine on its side to make it pay off. He knew he could shove Garces out the door if he had to. I was going to share my check with you, Prima. Now you'll get nothing. Nada, nada. Surprisingly, Garces was already on his feet, heading towards the door. Trino's mother muttered Spanish curses as she took Garces' clothes and shoved them into the black trash bag. She twisted the bag closed, then pushed it into the man's hands. Don't come back here, Garces. I'll tell them a bunch of stuff so that you'll go to jail. Hear me? Don't come back. I won't come back. When my checks come, I'll live the high life, Prima. You and your boys had a chance for it, too. Too bad. As the fat man shifted himself through the trailer door, Trino felt like pushing his shoes against the man's behind to get him out faster. Instead, Trino enjoyed the sound as the door slammed. He smiled as he watched Garces stumble over the gravel into the parking lot of the trailer park as he made his way out. Aye-yee! Now what will I do for supper? His mother expressed a loud sigh, and Trino turned to see her sink into the kitchen chairs. Leaning her elbows onto the tabletop, she rubbed her forehead with her hand. Suddenly, Trino realized how quiet the place was. Where are Beto and Gus? He asked his mother, and without thinking about it, started to pick up empty white boxes on the table. Nick took them to the ice house for a soda. He said he'd get them out of my hair so I can do a few things around here. Garces ruined everything. I was going to ask Nick to eat with us. Trino crunched a box in his hand. Who was this Nick guy anyways? Another Garces to sponge free food off of them? We have nothing for us. Tell the guy to eat someplace else. He grabbed another box and twisted them and shoved everything deep into the plastic trash can by the stove. When he turned around, Trino saw something made his skin turn cold. His mother's fingers were rubbing through tears coming down her face. Trino had never seen his mother cry. She yelled, she cursed, she hit, she gave every meanest ojo in the barrio, but through every bad thing that had ever happened, she had never cried. Why now? Trino stood there feeling like an idiot because he didn't know what to say or what to do for his mother. Her thin shoulders shook. She seemed to stare at something invisible spot on the table as tears continued. He wondered what she was thinking. Her face looked so sad. He had always known what to do when she yelled or tried to slap him. Run out the door as fast as you can. Rather than trying to run away, Trino felt a desire to step closer to his mother. If only he had known what to say or what to do. Maybe get her a glass of water, only if it would make his feet move and give his hands something to do. As he set the glass of water upon the table, his mother set her damp hand upon Trino's wrist. Trino almost jumped. Thank you, mijo. She now squeezed his wrist firmly. You okay, Mom? Trino could barely hear his own scratchy voice. He's been such a good friend to me. Now he's leaving. Who's leaving? Trino asked, fearing his mother was talking about Garces. Nick. He found a new job. He won't be working at the motel anymore. His mother released Trino's hand to pick up the glass of water. She took a sip, then set the glass down. I've never known a man like him. He's kind. He always thinks of others before himself. Trino frowned. Why is everything so crazy and confusing today? The old familiar urge to run away tempted him, but he couldn't. Instead, Trino sat down in the chair across from his mother. She raised her eyes to meet her son. Tears and black mascara smeared together under her eyes. I'm glad Garces is gone. He should have left a long time ago, she said. Trino felt relieved that she had gone to a subject he could talk about. Garces was a bum. He sure was, but he's family. I felt I should take him in. Her eyes started to dry as she talked to Trino. He was your father's cousin. Your father once told me Garces had saved his life. I thought I should repay him. Trino shrugged his shoulders together. Her story explained a lot, but Trino didn't care much for either man. He hadn't known his father, and Garces was no qualities to respect.